Hey, friends! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hallmarkies! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I am excited to have a very special guest, one of Hallmark's most beloved screenwriters, the incredibly talented Julie Sherman Wolfe. Whether it's a spring fling, love rekindled at a vineyard, a fall field day, or a Christmas miracle, today's guest is the storyteller behind some of Hallmark's most unforgettable love stories. Julie writes the kinds of movies that make you believe in second chances, unexpected meet-cutes, and small towns with big hearts. Her scripts are filled with charm, wit, and characters you root for no matter the month on the calendar. From holiday spectaculars to royal romances, Julie has made falling in love feel timeless. And today she'll take us behind the scenes of how the magic happens. Welcome, Julie. I'm excited to have
Thank
you on.
you. That's the best introduction I've ever had in my entire career.
Oh, thank you. Of
I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Appreciate it.
course. I'm really excited to have you on today. You're one of my favorite Hallmark writers.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that too.
So my first question is, how did you get started in the film and TV industry, and what led you to land on screenwriting?
Okay, so this is a story. I've told this story in some of sort of TED Talk type speeches that I've given, only because I love the message and it's a very Hallmark message, even though I didn't end up at Hallmark until 12 years ago. But this is many years before that, where I was in San Diego just out of college. I was a copywriter for an ad agency. That's because there was just, if you're not from LA and you don't have people that you know in the industry, back then the internet wasn't the internet the way it is. And you just don't even think about that as a career. So I wasn't thinking about it. I just knew I was a writer and I could write kind of funny stuff. So I did copywriting and I specialized in sort of comedic advertising and got that job out of college. For about 6 months or so. And then literally on the same day, I got downsized from that job. And then that afternoon, I got dumped by my college boyfriend. So all in one day. And then at the same time, I was doing stand-up comedy, just a little bit, just because I was just sort of,
Yeah.
you know, getting my feet wet in that. And I went down to the comedy store. I had like an 11:45 p.m. 5-minute slot. And I went and I didn't really want to go because I was, it was a terrible day. I was just thinking I don't really want to be funny. I don't feel funny. But I went anyway. And that decision led to meeting the headliner who was a writer on Roseanne. And he said, "Well, you're pretty funny and you're a chick." He said chick, "and you're a writer. Why aren't you in LA writing sitcoms? Like you would get a job in a second." And it was just that moment of total epiphany. And I decided at that exact moment that that's what I was going to do without knowing anything else. I waited tables for a few months in San Diego, and then finally I moved up to Hollywood, and I lived in this trashy, 1-bedroom apartment right off Sunset Boulevard. There's like hookers and drug dealers and terrible things happening all around. And I, you know,
Yeah.
sent my resume around town with a fax machine. I had a beeper, and I finally got a couple interviews as a writer's assistant, which is the person in a sitcom writer's room who takes all the notes and puts the scripts together. And you really get a great education there. It's the best education in sitcom writing you could have. And I did that for a couple of years. And then finally, I made connections. I met my agent, who's still my agent, by the way. Met her, you know, wrote some spec scripts, which is sort of a sample of a current show, but it's not real. Did a couple of those. I ended up getting my first writing job on a show on Lifetime called Oh Baby, which nobody remembers. That's okay. And then I ended up on Third Rock from the Sun was my second writing job, and that was great. And then I just sort of took it from there. And then um, I always loved romantic comedy. That was always my favorite genre, but I just never really, I didn't have a background in that kind of writing because I went straight into sitcoms. So when the strike happened, the first strike way back in the day, I decided to take that time and try and write a rom-com screenplay. And I ended up writing two of them, and I sold them both after the strike to the studio, to Paramount and to Disney. So those kind of opened the door to TV movies. In the meantime, I did Disney Channel and kids television and animation and a bunch of other TV, but that sort of got me into the MOW door. And it still took a few years after that to get into Hallmark with
Yeah.
the right idea and the right project. But ever since then, been pretty much it. I'm very happy doing my Hallmark thing for as long as they'll have me.
Yes, well, you're an amazing writer, and I'm glad you're
I
the Hallmark family.
am too. It's been
Yeah.
great.
So you mentioned Disney Channel. You wrote two episodes for both Jonas and Phil of the Future, which were favorites of mine growing up. What
Oh,
was your
good.
experience like working on those shows? And did you get to meet any of the cast, like the Jonas Brothers
Oh
or?
no, yeah, you're on sitcoms. You're there all day, every day with everybody.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
not. It's different from the movies where sitcoms you're with them. I mean, everyone's together all the time.
That's
So
amazing.
the Jonas Brothers were not the Jonas Brothers yet. They weren't
Nope.
the way they weren't like that. They weren't so famous. So it was
No,
sort of
they were
just
still.
funny to look back at it and go, oh yeah, like that kid was he was they were like little kids. It was weird. And Phil of the Future was actually my favorite writer's room
Oh.
ever. We had a great time. It was really, really fun. It's great people, lovely time. I do miss the writer's room a little bit. I'm not saying I'll never do it again, but I don't know if I have it in me for the late nights, 3 a.m. rewrites and
Yeah.
all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do miss the fun of that and the camaraderie, and it's a good time.
Yeah. They
Now
were
I'm very isolated in my bubble here of writing.
Yes, they were great shows, and I loved the uniqueness of Phil of the Future. I thought it was
I
great.
did too. And like it's just funny to see them all super grown up and just adults now, which is just because I feel like I'm the same. So it's just weird to see
Yes,
weird to see them now all grown up
yes.
and living adult lives and all that stuff.
Phil of the Future came out when I was in middle school, and Jonas came out when I was in high school. And I saw both the Jonas Brothers and Allie and AJ in concert.
Oh my gosh. That's yeah, they were good, Allie and AJ.
Yeah.
There and actually we had one night, um, who was it? Oh, Raviv Ullman had everyone
Mhm.
over to his house for like a music acoustic night. So everybody was singing,
Awesome.
playing guitar, and they were all very emotional and hormonal teenagers that really had a lot to sing about. So it was all very earnest singing about true love and heartbreak. And we're all kind of in the back, like, oh, bless your hearts.
Yes, of course.
It was
Yeah.
funny.
Who were your early influences or mentors when you started writing, and how did they shape your storytelling?
Um, so for the TV movies, it was nobody necessarily in television. It was sort of the heyday of rom-coms in the 90s and late 80s, early 90s of just the When Harry Met Sally and You've Got Mail and all the just sort of all the classic Nora Ephron type of rom-coms and even later, like Something's Gotta Give and all just those wonderful movies that, and I've always tried to do this where you're laughing, but there's also always a kind of a cry moment
Mhm.
in every one.
Mhm.
So I try and keep that balance. I came from a comedy background, so I think I try and have as much comedy as they'll let me. But that was sort of it. It was just kind of the old school back when they would release a rom-com in the movie theater, which they kind of don't now. So which is a shame because I remember I worked at a movie theater. I'm going to age myself. I worked at a movie theater. I think it was the year when Harry Met Sally came out, maybe. I think I did. I remember, no, maybe I didn't, but I just remember being in there laughing so hard and thinking like, oh my God, this is the best writing ever. And even then I still didn't think about being a writer of movies. I just, I don't know, like I really it just never occurred to me. And it's probably if I had I always wonder if I'd gone to UCLA, would I have started sooner? Because it wasn't until after UC, I was at UC San Diego. So if it was after that that I really figured it out. But I always wonder if I knew anyone in the industry at all, would I have started sooner? But it all was meant to be the way it happened.
Yes, of course.
Um, and yeah, and so here we are. So
That's great. And there's a lot of great non-Hallmark rom-coms out there. Like one of my favorites is 13 Going on 30, which
oh
is
yeah, amazing. A great movie.
yeah.
Fabulous. No, I mean I think um all the ones that were my inspiration were too sexual or too much for as a Hallmark movie,
Yeah.
like even When Harry Met Sally, but not too much.
No, of course
You
not.
know, so it's just a tiny bit, it was like a tiny bit edgier.
Yeah.
Gosh, a cloud. Did you see how dark it just got? A huge cloud just like blocked the
Okay.
entire.
It's okay.
Oh my God. Thunderstorm's coming.
Um,
That was the other thing, by the way, is that thanks to Hallmark, I was able to, and Zoom, and I guess just that technology. Um, my husband and I both always wanted to live on the East Coast, and we finally were able to do that 8 years ago. Mostly because I had the freedom to do, I was doing everything online anyway. All my meetings were Zoom meetings, and if I went to set, it doesn't matter where I start from. So we came out here, and I just love it. It's a totally different vibe than California.
yeah,
We
the
love it.
East Coast is a beautiful place to be.
It's gorgeous, and I love a good thunderstorm, which we don't get in Southern California at all. I'm from Northern California, and you get a little bit more weather,
Yeah.
but it's nothing like this. I just love all things weather. It's my
Yes.
favorite.
We've been having a lot of thunderstorms lately.
We've had some crazy ones, and actually, sadly, a lightning strike hit a house on my
Oh,
street,
no.
and it caught fire. And now I love storms, and now I'm a little PTSD about it. I'm a little triggered with a
I get it.
thunderstorm,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how much are lightning rods? I don't know. How
Yeah.
do I do that? I was a little bit freaked out, but I think I'm
I get
getting
it.
over it.
Yeah. I get it. It can be very scary at times, especially when you're at a beach house a couple years ago. Well, this was
Oh,
back in probably early high school, probably ninth or 10th grade. I can't remember the exact year, but my cousin and her parents, so my aunt and uncle, they have a family member that has a beach house in Sunset Beach, North Carolina. And it's one of those that's like elevated off the ground with just,
yeah,
the wood stakes.
just a
And
big,
we had a
yeah.
thunderstorm one day, and you could literally feel the house
Oh
shaking.
gosh, that's so scary. Yeah, it was scary. I mean, I thought our house got struck by lightning that night because it was so loud and crazy.
Um,
It turned out to be like three doors down, but it was terrible. Like, and so like that's the first time anything like that's happened. I doubt it's going to happen again, knock wood, but
no, yeah.
it's a little bit like, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's scary.
but better than earthquakes.
Yes, very true. So take us into your writing room. What's your routine when you're building a new script?
Well, here's my writing room. Um, it's almost always the same with like a Hallmark movie, which is regardless of whether I pitch the idea or it gets brought to me, it starts with one page kind of summary, and then it gets broken down into a longer outline. That gets, you know, I turn that in, I get notes, we go back and forth, a little bit. And then when they feel like the story is ready, we go to the script part of it, the teleplay part. Um, I actually feel like the harder, in a way, it's almost harder to do the outline because that's when you really have to figure out what the story is and what these story beats are and what their characters are going to do. And the script part is just sort of the fun.
Yeah.
And it always changes a little bit from the outline because once you kind of get to know these characters and they become real in your head, then you start making some changes here and there. But generally, I find the outline harder to do than the actual teleplay.
Do you start with character, plot, or setting for your scripts, or does it hit you all?
Oh, if it's a destination movie, then it's the setting.
Um,
But that doesn't usually it usually just starts with that log line of the plot and the
okay.
hook.
Yeah, that's good.
Um, and sometimes you can just, I mean, that's the thing. There's a million. If you just said give me a Christmas movie, that's I could go anywhere with that. But
Yeah.
so you have to be a little like get a little more specific. But
Oh,
that's where it's hard because there's been a million Christmas movies, right? So you got to try
mhm.
and think of something that hasn't been quite done yet. So Christmas is almost a little harder to think of new things. So you always try and think of something that hasn't been done yet. And what helps me with that is developing really good characters because
Mhm.
those characters do things that's never been done before because they are new people
Yeah,
that
very
you've
true.
just created. So they have different things that different personalities. I've been told they all kind of sound like me a little bit, like in the bantery way, but they're all different. They all have different pasts and they have different things that they're looking for and different hopes and dreams and all that. So once they become kind of real, then the situations sort of find themselves.
That's awesome. Yes. Your first Hallmark writing credit is for the 2015 film Hello, It's Me, starring Kevin Smith and Kelly Martin. What
Mhm.
inspired that story, and could you share how you got connected with the network?
Yeah, that was a book.
Okay.
So that was an adaptation of a book. And adaptations are difficult. I haven't done one in a long time. If you wrote a book and you adapted it exactly everything that was in it, it would be an 8-hour movie. You got to kind of pick and choose and
Mhm.
consolidate stories and consolidate characters. And generally, people who are big fans of a book aren't necessarily happy with the result. But so far, I think I've done okay with my adaptations. Avalon High was the Disney Channel one. That
Yes.
was a book that Disney made me change the
Mhm.
ending of the book for the movie. And some of the kids that loved that book got very upset, did not
Oh
like that.
no.
So that was the thing. But then Jessica Darling's It List, there were three books that we had to kind of condense two of them into one. And we had a really good time. I loved that movie. We had a good time writing that one. But that's one that probably needed like a sequel to really get to have the satisfying ending. But books are hard. So the Hello It's Me was hard, was the first one. So I didn't know any better. I just did it. That was the first one for Hallmark. And Liz Yost brought me in there. I'll be forever grateful to her for bringing me into the family. And it took us a few tries to get an idea or get in there. It's not that easy to sort of get in that door, and it's much harder now. So she brought me in, and luckily it went really well. It was very well received, and everyone at the network really liked it when they screened it before it aired. So that was great because, it could have easily gone the other way where my first movie for Hallmark was a dud, and, you know, that was it. And there's no 28 movies. It's just zero. It's just one. So like that, I got very lucky. I would say when people ask how come you've like been there for so long, one of the answers is I never think I'm safe and I never think that I can ride my own coattails to anything. I always just sort of take each script like it's my first one. And then, you get notes on your work. That's what happens. You're a professional writer, and a lot of writers that start out don't really want to hear the notes and they don't really want to hear what's wrong with something, but you've got to hear people, especially if you're getting paid, you kind of have to just do what they want. They're paying you. And so a lot of people fight back a lot on notes or argue and not don't really know when to sort of give it up and just do the work. And so they don't last as long either. So there's just sort of a way to kind of be true to who you are as a writer, but also not burn every bridge so you can keep going for 10, 12 years.
Yeah, and that's a great outlook. I mean, everyone should take constructive criticism. There's always room for improvement, and that's with any job.
A lot of writers that are breaking in,
Mhm.
especially people who want to write things that are important, kind of the kind of Oscar-winning type of movie that are very serious and important and meaningful. Like, you know, I don't go around acting like I'm Ernest Hemingway as a writer, like I know what I do and I do that well, but I'm not under any, you know, nothing's so precious that I can't cut it or change it. But a lot of people find their work is they kind of it becomes part of who they are
Mhm.
internally. And so if you tell somebody to cut something, it feels like you're asking them to cut off a finger. So that's what I always tell people is to sort of you got to sort of separate your personal love for whatever it is you're writing with the job.
Yes, very true.
That's that's
Agree.
that's always a bit of advice I give.
Agreed. Yes. So many of our listeners are fans of When Calls the Heart, Signed, Sealed, Delivered, and Chesapeake Shores, so they know of Captain Smith, Pascal Hutton, Marcus Rosner, Jeff Gustafson, Crystal Lowe, and Brendan Penny. What was it like working with those actors on their respective movies?
It's hard to speak to that because I don't always go to set. So I a lot of times just get the delight of watching how they did a role with everybody else. Um, I knew Cavan more because he was in the first one and then he
Yes.
did a second one of mine, I think. And some act now that I've been there for a long time, I do have friendships with a lot of the actors, but not necessarily. Well, Crystal Lowe I know pretty well too. She's great.
Right.
She's amazing. I love her.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, so it's not. I'm just not. Even if I'm on set, I'm not giving notes to actors, and I'm not
Oh, no. Yeah.
doing anything like that. I'm just sort of there. If I go to set, it's there to sort of observe and
Okay.
enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah.
Because that's not my job. Unless I start producing or directing or do something like that, then otherwise it's just by the time they get to set, it's the script is locked and it is
Mhm.
what it is.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll get a call and say if I have a relationship with an actor, they'll say, well, what did you mean by this? Or how do you feel like this was, what did you mean for this to be like? And I'll give them my take on what I meant for it to sound like, for it to be like in that scene. But I don't like to go over anyone's head. I don't want to step on the director's toes. That's their job.
Mhm.
So once I turn the script in and they start shooting, I'm pretty much, that's it.
Yes. Some of your other Hallmark work includes One Royal Holiday, A Dickens of a Holiday, Always Amore, Hanukkah on Rye, A Holiday Spectacular, Field Day, and Holiday Touchdown, which are a few of my personal favorites. Are there any fun behind the scenes stories you can share from the making of those or the writing?
Um, that's a lot of them. Well, One Royal Holiday is my one of my top favorites
Yeah.
because it had so many superstars from Broadway in the movie because
Yeah.
Broadway was still down from COVID, but
Mhm.
they still needed to work. So we
Mhm.
got huge heavy hitters for that movie. They shot that in Connecticut, so I was on the set more than usual, and I got a couple of my friends to be extras, and but that was really I just the acting and the caliber of the performances of that movie just blow me away every time I see it.
Mhm.
It's a lot of people's favorite movie. It's aired probably the most of any of my Christmas movies. I love that movie.
Yeah.
My actual favorite, one of my top favorites is Birthday Wish. That's aired the most of any movie I've ever written.
Yes,
Birthday
it's a good
Wish.
one.
Um, but just being coming back from COVID, I had the first two movies I think made back from COVID. It was that and Wedding Every Weekend.
Yeah.
So that was a relief just to know that we were still there and we were still going and we could still make movies and still make it work even after all that. Um, Obviously like Holiday Spectacular when I got to walk into Radio City Music Hall when it was completely empty and go on the stage and just stand there and look out. It was surreal. It still doesn't feel real. I remember the New York PD, NYPD had little signs up all around Radio City, for production and it had the name of the production. And I thought, wow, I never thought I'd have, shut down a major street in New York City for something I wrote, which was great. And then they premiered the movie at Radio City, which was
Mhm.
unbelievable. And then the Rockettes came out and danced, and then Kristen Chenoweth came out and sang, and it was just like I can never top this. But then we did the Chiefs movie, and that was crazy, and that was just a totally crazy roller coaster
Yeah.
ride, fun. I don't know. Now I say I don't know if I can top that. So far, I don't know.
I'm sure you can.
We'll see.
Yes.
I can't picture it, but we'll
Yes.
see. That's okay. I had a great year last year.
Yes.
All that fun we had. That was fantastic. That cast was amazing. I'm still
Yeah.
close with them. I would say that, getting to go on the cruise and then doing the Hallmark Christmas experience, I got a lot closer with a lot of the talent, the actors, and just what's been fun this last couple months is me being able to pitch ideas with the actors along, from the beginning. So, like I would just say, well, I have an idea. Do you want to do this? And so we would sort of do the pitch together and the actor will be with me on the pitch. So that's just been really fun. And I've been enjoying that. I can't say who, but
Oh, yes, of course not. But One Royal Holiday, I think, is one of my favorite royal movies Hallmark has ever done. And Holiday Spectacular is one of my favorite Hallmark movies I think they've ever made. That is one of the best movies they have ever made for the
thank
network.
you. It's funny. I love the extended cut because that makes it feel better. Like that's
Yes.
more, I, every time I see the normal one, I feel like, oh, I wish that was in there. And then they did the extended cut and all
Mhm.
my favorite things that they cut were back in there. So I love to watch that version of it at the
Yes.
holidays. I don't watch that many of my own stuff anymore.
Okay.
That many of my own movies. I really just I'll watch One Royal Holiday if it pops up because I
Yeah.
just love those performances. I can't get
Mhm.
and then Birthday Wish I'll watch if it pops up.
Mhm.
My son is funny. He's a teenager.
Mhm.
He's very critical. He doesn't like all of my movies, but
Oh,
the ones that he loved were Holiday Spectacular and One Royal Holiday and the
okay.
Chiefs movie. So those were his top. Those are his top three.
Oh, it's awesome. And the Chiefs movie was great too. I really enjoyed
Oh,
that one.
thank you, thank you,
Of course.
thank you.
And Laura, who was in Royal Holiday, I actually met her back in 2011. My high school, we had a what's called a winterim trip, which is kind of like an out of the classroom learning trip. And my group went to New York and we saw three Broadway plays. One of them, Anything Goes, which Laura was in, and
Oh
some
my
of
gosh,
us got to meet her after the show.
she's awesome. Actually, it's funny that when I was talking about Phil of the Future, one of the writers on that show ended up writing the Bonnie and Clyde musical, which Laura was in.
That's awesome.
So I think he's doing it in Korea now or something, but I think it's still running somewhere.
That's
But yeah, I love she's so good. I
so
wish
true.
that's the thing. It's so funny. I've had Broadway people, and so I had Jeremy Jordan in Hanukkah on
Right.
Rye. I just had so many big, huge Broadway stars, and then none of them are singing with any actual, you know, there's no real singing in any of the movies. Maybe for a second in One Royal
Mhm.
Holiday where you can hear it, but like
Yeah.
in none of these movies are they actually singing where you can tell how brilliant they are. And it always kills me. Like I wish I could just do
Oh,
a
you're so
musical,
good.
but I'm sure someone's already figuring that out. But
You're so
it's
good.
fun.
Yes. She actually signed my playbill of the show, I think. I
Oh,
have it
really?
somewhere.
Oh. Well, I did go visit Derek Klena
He's great
from
too.
Holiday Spectacular after he was doing Moulin Rouge, and I met him after the show because I went to go see him,
Yeah.
and it was so funny because all the fans were crowded around the stage door, and he kind of snuck out around the back and met me across the street. So we were just chatting, and all these people walking by, he had a hat, and nobody knew it was him, and we just started walking,
That's
and it
so
was just so funny because all these poor fans were sitting there waiting at the door, and he was like, wait, already gone,
cool.
talking to me. I felt bad, but it was just interesting. Like, it's such a different world out there. But yeah, between Derek and then Aaron Tveit, they both have the same role in Moulin Rouge. Um, Jeremy, I got to see backstage when he was in Connecticut performing, and I got to take my friend's
Awesome.
daughter backstage to meet him. So now I'm forever her BFF because I got
Oh,
her to meet Jeremy Jordan.
that's amazing. He's great too. They're
I
all
love
great.
him. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love him. I wish we could do that's the thing. It's hard to get these guys. So I never feel like a sequel is ever possible because I don't think we could ever do a
Yeah.
sequel on One More Holiday. We would never get, Vicky Clark she's already won a Tony since then.
Wow. Amazing.
Um, they're all very busy and successful. Yeah.
As part of Passport to Love, Hallmark recently released To Barcelona with Love and To Barcelona Forever. What drew you to Barcelona as a setting, and what was the first scene or image that popped into your mind when the story began to take shape?
I don't know if Ashley talked about this when she just did your podcast, and I don't know if she
Yes.
got to this of the idea of how it came about. So she probably already told you, but that was the after party for Holiday
Yep.
Spectacular after Radio City.
Hmm.
And literally Barcelona came out because we were talking about this idea Ashley had, and
Yeah.
we couldn't figure out, where to set it. And we're like, well, it needs to be, a foreign language. And Allie walked by. She said, Allie,
Allie.
what if you speak a foreign language? Yes, Spanish. Then she goes,
Yeah.
okay, great, Barcelona. We're like, great, let's do that. We would love to go to Barcelona. That's really it. And then the image that popped in my head was the scene we sort of jokingly talked about at that bar, which was the mistaken translation and sort of the love triangle and the Cyrano
Yep.
factor of it, like all that
Yeah.
stuff. We just had a lot of fun
Yeah.
kind of pitching that to each other as a joke. And then, yeah, it took almost 3 years to finally happen, but
Wow.
it happened. Yeah, it was cool.
I'm glad it finally did.
Yeah, me too. It was fun.
Barcelona feels like more than a setting, it feels like a character in itself. How did the city shape the tone and rhythm of those two stories?
Well, I had never been there. And the irony of that is that the reason that Ashley's character's book doesn't do well is because she hadn't been there, or that's why,
Mhm.
because she didn't know what she was talking about. So
Mhm.
I had to pretend like I knew what I was talking about to write about someone who didn't actually know what they were talking about. So I basically just bought some books and some maps and read all about sort of the little, off the beaten path tour stuff and like what's happening in Barcelona and what's trendy and kind of just trying to get more of an insider's view of it. Like that's one of my guidebooks that I got was sort of a locals guide. And then just really dove in and got to know it from like again, like, 30 years ago that you wouldn't be able to do a deep dive like that and do so much research. But with the internet, right, you could pretty much go there and see everything that you need to see. So I just picked what I thought was the best neighborhood. What's funny is the bookstore they used with a little patio in the back is the one that I actually had researched because it made sense to me where it was, that it had a little garden and it had a patio and this nice bookstore. And that was the one that I was picturing when I wrote it in the script, and they didn't realize that that's the same one that they ended up getting. So that was where I was there for like a few days in Feb when they were shooting it in February, and that's mostly where they were the time I was there. So it's just funny to research it and then write it and then be there.
That's
It
awesome.
was fun, yeah. And then I Didn't spend that much time on set. I really just used it as an excuse to go to Barcelona.
Barcelona.
And then I went to Florence. So I still need to do a movie at coming from Florence.
That would be
That was amazing. Like I actually think I like Florence more than Barcelona, to be honest. So
awesome. I've heard it's a beautiful place and the
so amazing.
architecture.
Yeah, I had wonderful experiences in both cities, don't get me wrong. I just feel like Florence just felt more like everything is within half a mile of each other. So you're just walking around all day. You don't have to take a cab. You just walk to everything. And then you go to all these local little tiny hole in the walls. The best thing to do, this is off topic. The best thing I did, and I will never not do this again, is going to a different country or a different city and doing the tours that are like the food tours by a local. So there's maybe, 8 people in your group and some local that knows everybody takes you around to all the restaurants and you get little tastings and wine. And it was fantastic. And stuff you would never get to see and food you would never probably try if you were just going to some touristy restaurant. So I will always do a food tour now, like a walking tour.
Yes. Love food.
That's fantastic. I know Ashley's talking about eating and stuff. My favorite thing to do is make actors eat in movies because I think like someone like Ashley, it's so funny if they do it right, and she does do it right. We're taking the bite at the right time and then like just getting the line out. I think it's hilarious every time. I have a
She,
lot of food in my movies. Half the scenes in that movie are in restaurants or have to do with food the whole time. I also try and this didn't become an Easter egg, but it sort of accidentally became like a me Easter egg. I always have like ranch dressing in movies. I always try and put a ranch dressing joke. And it started out, I did it a couple times and somebody made a joke that I should put ranch in every movie. And so I started trying to sneak it in. I couldn't do it on the Barcelona movie.
no, that one.
Nope, it has to be, it really worked great though with the Hanukkah on rye because that's just,
Yeah.
that goes with it. That goes. But
Yeah.
yeah, so if you're ever watching another movie, look for ranch dressing.
I will do that. Was there a favorite dish you had when you were in Spain?
Yes, I found this little tapas place that I didn't realize was a trendy, like make sure, run, don't walk to this. It's like the total influencer
Yes.
tapas place, but it happened to be across from my hotel. And I went early because they eat so late. They
Hmm.
eat dinner at 9 o'clock. So I was there like 7 and I just sat there and all this food kept coming, all these little tapas. And I thought, I'm like, this is the best
Oh,
food I've ever had, and I didn't realize how lucky I was to get in the door and sit at the bar and not have to wait 2 hours.
oh,
That
no.
was good. And of course, I can't remember the name of it right now.
Oh, that's
But that was really good. And then we went out to dinner. I went out to dinner with Ashley and Allie and our producer, and it was a fantastic meal, unbelievably great. But then Ashley and I both got violently ill the next day, but we're not sure if it was because of
no.
that or we just got sick.
Oh
So,
no.
so I don't think it was that restaurant. That was one of the best restaurants in
Oh,
Barcelona, supposedly. So I don't think it's that, but it was also because Allie and the producer also ate the same food we did. So I think we just got sick, but
mm,
I don't know if she told that story, but she has told that story
mm,
on other uh,
mm, mm.
podcasts. I'm not gonna.
No.
I'm sure she's one rehashed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, love food. I could talk about food all day.
Yeah.
What's the hidden gem moment in each film? The small scene that might fly under the radar but means the most to you?
Well, I'll tell you one. I'm gonna give you one. Because it's in both movies. There was a speakeasy where you're supposed to go into like I thought I made this up. I really thought I hadn't looked this up anywhere, but I made up, I thought, a place where you go into a laundromat and it just looks like a laundromat, but then in the back there's a guy and you say a secret word and he opens the door and it's a bar or a restaurant. And I'm like, that'd be really cool because her whole character thing is that she's supposed to be in the know and find all these secret things.
Yeah.
I I had no idea that this actually existed in Barcelona, but it was a convenience store. And we thought they would have, and even they thought they would have to just pretend and like kind of make this fake thing, but it actually existed in Barcelona. It was a convenience store where you do a secret word and open the door and there's a bar,
That's
like a
awesome.
speakeasy. So that was really cool. That was to me just like a really fun
Yeah.
thing that magically worked out exactly how I wanted it to, but I had no idea it was real. And then the second one, that's hard. Oh, well, the scene in the second one in Barcelona Forever, where she ends up in the guest room at the very beginning and the whole family, and she doesn't realize that he lives with his whole family and they come in. And that whole thing, one of the movies I sold when I first wrote my first two feature films was to Disney, and it was called Made in Italy. And that was one of the guy lived at home and she didn't know it. And in that version, they slept together and they were in bed together and then woke up and the mom comes in with the laundry with breakfast and all these things. And she's like, who are, basically ignoring the girl because he brings home late women all the time and she's used to it. But it was like, but I always wanted to be able to do that, a version of that scene. And so that was like a 20-year time difference between I actually first thought of kind of scene where the mom comes in, like in that version Italian, in this version Spanish, comes in and there's a girl in the guest room. So that was like I'm really happy that I got to finally write a version of that. Because I don't think Made in Italy is ever getting made at this point. So I think I give up on that. So
Oh,
yeah.
one of my favorite scenes in the movie. That was great.
I thought they did a great job and just the shot was great with all of them smushing her and everything.
Yep.
So, but it's actually funnier, I have to say, when they're in bed together and she's like, asking this, what is going on, and the mom is, bustling around, and
Yeah.
it's just a little more, it's more PG-13.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
more like that.
Yeah.
But
That's great.
it worked. It worked for the Spain one.
Yes. What's
But,
something viewers might not know about the making of these films? Any fun location stories or surprising behind the scenes moments you can share?
um,
You might want to
I
say.
gotta think about that. Yeah, I didn't gonna think about that one. Um, I mean, for the most part, I don't think anyone is surprised by this necessarily, but for the most part, wherever we pretend somewhere isn't that place. And not Barcelona, not when it's a big destination movie, but sometimes, there was a time where the Barcelona movie was going to be shot in um a different country that looks like Spain, or that, where sometimes that's just what happens.
Yeah.
Um, so the New York City Jewish deli in Hanukkah on Rye was really in Canada somewhere, so um that's always fun. Now I live in Connecticut, which is like the movie location, Hallmark movie location capital of the country aside from Canada, right? It's like Canada doesn't count. It's just for here. One Royal Holiday was actually in a town in Connecticut, so that was great. And they made a little map of all the locations of all the Hallmark movies that have been made in Connecticut, and it's like a little driving map of that. So I love that. I kind of prefer when a movie is really located where we're saying it's located.
Yes.
It's not the norm though. Definitely. Like I think I had a movie that was in Chicago that was really um Canada and like a little bit of upstate New York. Um the Rockettes movie, obviously, that you get to go to Radio City, it's stunning like that, and I just think it elevates every. And same with the Chiefs movie, when you're at the stadium, when I wasn't at the stadium, but like when they shoot where it really, really is, it's
Mhm.
just elevated. You just feel it more. So
Mhm.
I wish that every movie I write could be in the actual location. Also, because I'd like to, if that was true, I would write wherever I want to go on vacation. I would just write a movie, but because it doesn't really work like that, I can't just say like I think I'm going to write a movie about Switzerland
Yeah.
because I really want to go to Switzerland. That's not going to happen. It'll be Canada,
Yeah.
Switzerland
Yes.
kind of
But I
version.
love that too. When movies are made in the
Yeah,
actual.
that's why I think the destination movies do really well. I think people really like to see the real thing when they go to Ireland and they go to all these places.
I loved how the Chiefs movie was filmed in Kansas City, like the stadium. For me, it even felt like I was there, like in the stadium, like that one scene when
Yeah,
they're
it's
in.
great. And we got to go to a game before the premiere, and I'm a fan of a different team. I'm a 49er fan, so that was like
Okay.
Um, that was interesting because it was hard to write a movie about the Chiefs after they just beat us in the Super Bowl, but that was fine.
Yeah.
And everyone's so nice though.
Mhm.
I mean, truly, everybody in Kansas City was so wonderful that I thought, okay, well, I could root for them as long as they're not playing
Mhm.
against us.
Yeah.
I could probably be okay with them because they're,
Yeah.
gosh, people were so nice. It was
That's
crazy. Like,
awesome. It's really
yeah,
good.
it was wonderful. So,
Yes.
I'm sure everyone in Buffalo is just as nice and they're having a great experience up there as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I don't think I'm going to do another football movie unless it's 49ers.
Oh, yeah. Love football movies. They're always fun.
Yeah, I do too. I did a
Yes.
flag football one a few years ago
Yes.
too.
Fourth
That
down
was,
and love.
that was right. Yeah. So I think, Yeah, 49ers are bust. That's it.
49ers are us. My
Yep.
brother is a big Packers fan.
Well, I don't mind Packers fans either. I'm telling all the Midwest fans are all pretty nice people.
Yes, I've heard that too. That's great.
Yeah.
If you could write a third film in the Barcelona series, where would you like to take the characters next?
Oh, I would do take him to Italy.
That would be fun.
Yeah, then I can do my whole Florence thing. I would totally in a second. I would do it Florence. I could make that work.
Mhm.
I don't know what the story would be, but I could make it work.
Yes.
Like it's one couple's honeymoon and the other one does something else. Like I don't know. It
Yeah.
has to be or they're both pregnant. They're on baby moons. I don't know what it would be. There has to be some. I don't know how you go any farther because they both have their happy endings. But if there was a sequel I could ever do, one of them would be Wedding Every Weekend, but it would be baby showers
Okay. That would
like
be
in a row. It would be baby showers in a row. I think I tried to pitch it and they didn't buy it. But that was
fun.
the one that I thought would have been fun.
Oh, yes, that would have been fun.
I never know why a sequel happens or doesn't happen, but I haven't had one yet, except with Barcelona. But that was a sequel, but not really because they shot them together.
Oh,
So it's not like Three Wise Men and a Baby where it's just like 3 years in a row,
yeah.
But those they did really, really well and they're great movies. So I get it. But some people a lot of times really, really always say, "Oh, we need a sequel, we need a sequel," and it doesn't happen. But I don't really know why.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Yeah, I don't know.
I'd love a sequel to some of your movies because
Everybody at the Kansas City movie was like, "Yeah, let's do a sequel," and I'm like, "There's
yeah,
no way."
I think I said that on my review with Jen Silliman. She reviewed that
Oh, is
movie.
that right?
Yes, it was
Oh,
fun.
I'd love to. I just think that, yeah, again, like it's very hard to get those same people back in one place
Yes,
again. It's
very
tough.
true. Yeah, that cast was great.
Yeah, they were amazing. I love them.
For anyone whose first introduction to your work is To Barcelona with Love and To Barcelona Forever, what is the core message or feeling you hope audiences take away from watching these films?
Um, that one to me was about friendship and how and
Mhm.
second chances and sort of being able to have your dreams come true later in life where you think that maybe you go down the wrong path and you're stuck and now you're a certain age and nothing's going the way you thought it would, but that, you know, if you kind of just stay true to what you want in your dreams and who you are, you'll get to the place you need to be. It's just about, and I think that's just a measure of me being a certain age and having, you write differently in different times of your life. And I'm in that place where, my kid is 2 years away from leaving for college and it just changes sort of how you look at the world and where you think, am I the person I thought I would be at this point in my life, or am I doing what I thought I would be doing at this point in my life? So I end up kind of writing a lot about that now. So that was a lot of part. That was part. And I think for Ashley and Allie, it's similar. None of us are 30 anymore,
Mhm.
and things are different. And we're not going to pretend like those two characters have never been in love or been in a relationship. It's just different. It's how come they haven't worked? Why? Where's the one? Like, did I screw? Did I wait too long? Those are the questions you ask after a certain point. So
That.
that's patience, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And I always enjoy when a Hallmark movie or any movie in general has a good message to it. And that was a
Hmm.
good one. You've written a lot of Countdown to Christmas movies, so I'm guessing you're a big fan of the holiday season. What is your personal favorite holiday memory?
Well, my personal favorite right now is actually because of a total disaster, because it's a funnier story where we're Jewish, but obviously I love Christmas to the point where if you didn't know that we were Jewish and you went by my house, you would think there were like we put up lights and I have ornaments and I have Santa comes and all these things like we just love Christmas. My husband wrote a book called Schmelf the Hanukkah Elf that's out every year, and it's about an elf that works for Santa who discovers Hanukkah. So like we just love our Christmas and the holiday season. It's our favorite time of year. During COVID, we lost our minds and decided that this was the year we were going to try and get a Christmas tree. Like we have everything else, and I have all these ornaments that just sit there, and I just kind of hang them up. But I always thought getting a tree was sort of you can't go that far
Mhm.
for whatever reason, like, we can't get a tree. We aren't Christian. That's the line we're drawing. But we lost our minds. Everyone did one crazy thing during COVID.
Yeah.
Everyone bought something crazy or did something crazy, and that was ours. And this tree came from Balsam Hill, and it's a beautiful thing. We unpacked it, and then started trying to put it together. And in that hour between unpacking the tree and trying to get it up in the corner and put the lights to work and fluff it or whatever it is you do, me and Greg had the biggest fight we've ever had
Oh
in
my
our
God.
20 something years of being together. We kept cutting ourselves. The lights broke. The tree fell. We were fighting. We were screaming. And we finally started laughing and realized like this was God saying, this is not for you.
Oh no.
So my favorite Christmas memory is the 1 hour that we had a Christmas tree. Literally, almost got divorced, put the
Oh,
tree back in the box and sent it back to Balsam Hill, literally in the box. And then now what is in that space is a vintage ladder. And I put little nails in it and I put all my ornaments in rows on the ladder and put the lights around it. And it's fabulous. But that always cracks me up because it's just my life is very much centered around Christmas in so many ways. But also I wrote two Hanukkah movies, so I love to keep, do my thing for Hanukkah. Um, but it's just a very funny moment for us because we always laugh about it, how we
oh, yeah.
came, we almost crossed that invisible
Oh,
line. And then my husband wrote a really funny article about it. It ended up online, like got a lot of views online about
oh,
them.
yeah.
He told it better than I do, and he wrote a really funny article about it.
Oh,
Um, but I just love you know, that's the irony of it is, a lot of Jewish people have written some of the most beloved Christmas movies like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and so many Christmas songs that have been written. Because I see Christmas as I know it is a religious holiday, but for me, it's more of the cultural sort of, it's the community part of it and bringing everyone together. And it's just a beautiful time and everyone's just in a better mood. And I love that part of the holidays, kind of the secular version of it. And I've always loved it.
yes.
Even when my parents didn't want us, like I would say Santa, basically I think Santa came because I was just so devastated. I would be devastated if Santa didn't come.
Mm, yeah.
He threw us a bone.
Oh, yes. My family celebrates Christmas, but for me, I always love seeing the Hanukkah movies too. Different,
Oh, good.
different celebrations. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. And you can do both. I mean, that's the thing. So,
Mm,
and that, Hanukkah is not a religious holiday per se. It's a celebration of a miracle.
yes.
But they don't, like in Israel, they don't really consider that to be one of the big holidays. It's just sort of but we d- we always have a Hanukkah party here every year. I'll have a party to watch whatever movie I
Yeah.
wrote for Christmas, and I'll have like a Christmas themed party, and then we'll also have a Hanukkah party every year.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I love being able to do both. And even my my mother-in-law, when I first started dating my husband, like I went to their house at Christmas. Everyone's Jewish, and they'd be just her whole thing was snowmen because it was a way to do Christmas, but not
Not,
religiously,
yeah.
So snowman everywhere.
Yeah.
There's always a way to do it because it's
Yeah.
just a fun thing.
Yes, very true. One of my favorite Hallmark actors, Daniel Lissing, who was on When Calls the Heart from season 1 to 5, he told me when he was on my podcast last year that half of his family is Jewish and half is Christian. So they do what he calls a Chrismukkah
Just like
celebration,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they have a tree, and I think he said they put the Star of David on the top of the tree.
That's what we were gonna do.
Yeah.
That was the plan. It was gonna be blue and white lights with a Star
Yeah.
of David on top, but no, we could not because
Oh,
there's no one in this house is actually not Jewish.
oh my God.
I think it was just yeah. But it's funny because even when you walk, like I have a whole room that's all my Hanukkah stuff, but then the kind of the rest of the house is Christmas. So it's it's probably not great that I have more Christmas stuff than Hanukkah stuff around, but there's not that much Hanukkah stuff to be,
Oh.
let's be honest. There's only so many things you can collect. I have a lot of menorahs that I collect that are funny, but and also there was one year where Hanukkah was on Thanksgiving, and that was just not a good time. It was just too early. It
I
was too,
remember that.
yeah, it always changes. That's the
Yeah.
other thing.
The date always changes.
Yeah.
You've written so many heartwarming stories. How do you keep the ideas fresh while staying true to that Hallmark feel?
Um, I don't know. It's not that easy to sort of come up with new stuff and you go into a little, I won't say a funk, but it's just sometimes the ideas come really easily and fast and you're pitching and having developing and doing all that stuff. And then sometimes they're just not coming to you. But there's no time to really have writer's block. It's just if you want to pay your bills and, keep going, you just have to figure out a way through it. So sometimes if you can't think of an idea, I'll just do a log line in my head of something and see if I can make a whole story out of it. Sometimes you can think of an idea and then you realize it can't get past the halfway point until it dies. So, um, I talk to a lot of people, not I don't listen to everyone. I'm a firm believer that everyone can live a Hallmark movie life and everyone has a Hallmark story in their life. A lot of people want to tell me their Hallmark story, but I can't hear that because I don't want to accidentally steal somebody's story and then get into trouble down the lines.
Kidding.
So I can't really hear people's like great ideas for Hallmark movies, but I talk to a lot of people and just sort of just in chatting with people and getting to know different people, sometimes things just spark in getting out of the house and living your life.
Yeah.
You're exposed to the world. I mean, it's easy to just stay in my office here and never leave and just work, 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 but then you're not living a life that creates more stories. I was an assistant on Everybody Loves Raymond for the first two
Love
years.
that show.
And one of the best things he said that the showrunner said was that he never wanted the writers to stay until 3 in the morning every night because then they have no life and there's nothing to write about. So part of it is trying to, kind of find these little hallmark moments or opportunities in your life. Like I'm going to a polo match for the first time next week, and I'm certain that something will come up when I
Mhm.
go to that polo match. There's some idea will come. So that's what it is. Like the more you live, the more ideas come.
Very true. Yeah, I've always heard that life is the best inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Is there a Hallmark trope that you secretly love? One that you secretly
Uh,
love breaking?
I can tell you one I hate, but I'll tell you one.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'll do the one I secretly love. No, I don't. I don't have any. I don't
Oh,
like, I try to avoid them at all costs, and sometimes I can't. But I remember writing, I had to do an ice skating scene, and I begged them, I said, just, I don't, like, I'm going to write this, and it's not going to involve one of them falling and the other one catching them in a romantic way, because that one drives me crazy. So, like, I think I tried to avoid that, and then one time they did it anyway, and I was very
oh
sad.
no.
But I I think it's so important to try to avoid them, and sometimes they just are unavoidable because I even there was one where there was a hot cocoa scene, and I wrote in the script, please don't do the thing where the whipped cream is on the nose, and somebody says you got whipped cream on your nose. That drives me nuts. So in Holiday Touchdown, I made the joke about it, saying like, okay, if she puts flour on her face, he's going to come over and have to wipe the flour off her face. And that will be like their big moment. So I try to sort of turn it on its
Yeah.
head a little bit because after all these movies, let's just put it this way. I've written a lot of these movies. If you see a trope, I tried my very best to avoid it, but sometimes it's unavoidable.
Very true. I actually loved that scene in Holiday
Oh,
Touchdown.
good. Thank you.
It was
I
great.
also hate empty coffee cups, but now I know why they do it.
Yeah, I've heard.
So I can't hate it as much, but I usually drives me nuts. But now I know it's
Well,
because even if you put water in it, if the water spilled out, it gets on their costume,
mhm.
then they don't have backups, then it's gonna delay production. So I get it, but it drives me crazy when people are waving around coffee cups with like this, like they're not gonna get
Yeah.
burned.
If you had to live inside one of your own Hallmark movies for a month, which would it be, and what job in the small town would you have?
Well, that's such a good question.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love that question. And now I'm not gonna be able to think where would I want to be? Uh, huh. I think one royal holiday because it's just
Mhm.
well. It's funny because I do live in the town that I made in my own town. I put in twice in two different movies, so I do live in a Hallmark town in a Hallmark movie because I
Oh,
put my own town in there.
yeah.
Gosh, see, I'm trying to remember all my movies. It's just going to be one of the ones with the little walkable downtown. God, that's a really, really good question.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, Barcelona is the easy answer.
Yeah, you can pick Barcelona if you
That's the
want.
easy. I would do that, and then my job would be, yeah, I would be what Ashley's character was, and just tasting food and doing like I would be an influencer.
That's a good one.
I'm not going to do that in real life, but I would be an influencer. That's what I would do.
I don't know what I would pick. That's a hard one.
That is a really hard question, and like, I mean, Well, no, but then if I said holiday spectacular, then I could go back in time and live in New York City in 60, in the 50s, and that would be
Yeah,
amazing. Maybe I would do that and get to wear those cute outfits.
that's a good
And I
choice
would be
too.
and I would be a and I would be a writer, but in kind of a Dorothy Parker way.
That's a good choice.
That's mine.
Good
That would be
answer.
my that's my
Yes,
that's my new answer. I changed my
yes,
answer.
yes. There's a lot of cute little small towns in the country.
There are. And a lot of them are in Connecticut.
There's one really cute small town in Florida that we actually stopped on the way back from Rama Drama in 2022, New Smyrna Beach.
I keep hearing about all these quaint Florida towns, and I can't reconcile cute town with humidity.
I get it.
I can't, you know what I mean? I
I
can't
get it.
picture an adorable Christmas town, but it's also 90-degree,
Yeah,
100% humidity.
yeah. And then all the little towns on 30A on the Gulf side.
Oh yeah, yes. I know. See, that's a whole world that I'm not I know like Orlando is, because we go down there a lot.
Yeah.
And I was just in I did Miami before the cruise, which was
hmm
I'd never been there. That was neat. But yeah, I know there's so many parts of Florida that I couldn't even tell you if it's West or East Coast.
Oh,
I really don't even know.
so
But I do want to go to South Carolina. We were supposed to go to Charleston
good.
and had to cancel. I really want to go.
Oh, you should come. It's beautiful down
I
here.
so want to go. I want to go. I want to go when it's not hot though. I'm not a big, this is the thing. This is not my favorite time of year. I have a beautiful backyard and I love it's gorgeous, but like I can't wait till fall.
We have really nice weather in the fall. Summer, it varies.
I can't I need to know humidity's ending and you guys you're too far south for that.
I
I
get it.
think this is about as far south as I'm going. It's
I get
Connecticut.
it. I get it. So before we start to wrap up, I have a fun rapid fire game if you would like to play.
Okay, here's where the ADHD will fail me. Okay, go ahead.
It's okay.
I told you, like I said, I don't remember anything. So
Sure.
here we go.
Which four movies are on your Mount Rushmore of romantic comedies? And that can be Hallmark or non-Hallmark or both.
All right. When Harry Met Sally, Pillow Talk,
Okay.
Singing in the Rain,
Oh, that's a good one.
and Something's Got to Give,
Okay.
I think. And I will probably regret one
Oh,
or two of those. That's what comes to mind.
Singing in the Rain is great.
Maybe You've Got Mail.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I
maybe
love
that
that
one.
one.
Yeah, Pillow Talk was sort of my number one romantic, like straight up romantic comedy.
I've never seen that.
Doris Day. It's Rock Hudson and Doris Day. Very old, but it's so great. It's so great. You should watch it immediately. It's fantastic.
I'll write that one down.
Singing
I,
in the Rain, I do count as a romantic comedy.
yes, that's great. Which actor would you love to write a role for, Hallmark or otherwise?
Um, that's tough. See, that's the thing. I don't really think about actors when I'm writing until it's like that comes sort of after the fact, and I'm not like a big super fan of anybody. Yeah, I don't know how one. I don't think I have an answer to that one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry, buddy.
it's okay.
No, I'll say Chris Hemsworth so I can
There
hang
you
out
go.
with Hemsworth.
Yeah, he's great.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll do fine.
Yeah. Favorite Hallmark movie you've written or wish you had?
My favorite one that I've written is either Birthday Wish or One Royal Holiday or Holiday Touchdown.
hmm
Um, the one I wish I'd written, I will say any movie by Nina Weinman or Tracy Andreen because they are both awesome. So
They're
either
both great.
anything from them
Yes,
because
they're both great.
I love them. Yeah.
Yes. Which Hallmark character would you be friends with in real life?
Oh, pretty much every girl I write, I would say is somebody I would hang with.
Yeah.
Um, I would say Laura Osnes' character in One Royal Holiday only because she's so like she's
Yeah.
not putting up with anyone's bull and
Yeah.
is not impressed by people. So she's just she seems like she'd be a cool person to hang with. I would love to hang with everybody in Hanukkah on Rye and just go hang out at the deli and just be part of that crew. Um, yeah, those are the two things. See, again, like I'm sure I know I'm gonna think of a better answer later, but
No,
my brain doesn't work this
yeah.
way. So
Those are good choices. And Hanukkah on Rye was such a fun movie. I really love
thank
the
you.
dynamic.
Thank you. I have the giant neon sign from that movie in my basement.
That's awesome.
Pay for them to send it to me.
That's awesome. What is a classic movie you'd rewrite the ending for?
Oh, Family Man with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I
So
think
they
I
spent the
saw that one.
entire movie. I loved every second of it until the end, and it was ruined because you fall in love with this family and you fall in love with these two kids that he has, and they turn out to be not real. And basically, when he wakes up from this dream that he's in or gets back to normal, these kids don't exist anymore and they're basically dead. And it's terrible.
Oh
And that's what I would
no.
rewrite. And so they had this perfect movie until the very, very, very end. I hated that.
Oh. I've never seen it, but that's a good answer.
Because I remember being in the theater going like, what?
Oh my goodness. I probably wouldn't like
Yeah,
that ending
it's
either.
great till the end.
Yes.
No, I was very happy. Like they killed these two adorable children, basically in my mind, like that they don't exist now because yeah.
Oh no.
The rest of the movie is fantastic.
That's good. At the end of my interviews, I always ask my guest to share an inspiring quote or piece of advice. Do you have a great quote or piece of advice you would like to share?
Um, I don't have a quote, but I was said this earlier a little bit, but everyone can have a Hallmark movie life and everyone can have those experiences if you're willing to sort of look for those moments and live in those moments and go out there and just find them. And everything can you can look at things either in a positive or a negative light in anything that happens. And I always talk about how, the worst day of my life turned out to be the entire reason I have my life the way it is now. So you just have to sort of like be in those moments and realize that things happen for a reason. And I really believe in that Hallmark thing about fate and things happening the way they're meant to happen. That happened to me because I never thought that day when I got dumped and fired, that would be the thing that led me to this entirely different path that I stayed on. So that's it.
Yeah, that's such good advice. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
And this was so much fun, Julie. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. I had a great time chatting.
It's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Yes. And where can my listeners find you on social media if they're not following you?
So I am at Julie_Sherman_Wolfe on Instagram, and I'm at Sherm Wolfe with an E, Sherm Wolfe on Twitter. But I'm mostly on Instagram, and I'm not a very reliable social media poster unless I have something airing.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it. So come and follow.
Yes. Everyone go follow her if you're not already. She's great. All right, Hallmarkies. Well, I think that wraps up my interview, and I will see you next time. Bye. All right, Hallmarkies. I think that concludes my interview with Julie Sherman Wolfe. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share what your favorite movie from Julie is in the comments and what you loved most about To Barcelona with Love and To Barcelona Forever. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube and follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Swing My Heart Podcast and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. I also have a merch store, which I will link in the description of this video. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Love y'all. Bye.